Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining this call. This call, in fact, will give you an overview of the IBM Hybrid Cloud software strategy, and it will summarize the unique approach IBM has to software. It will give you a more, let's say, a holistic executive level overview of the strategic approach IBM has towards software. Now, during this call, we will put everybody on mute. But nevertheless, if you would have a question, please ask them or put them in the chat session. Dirk and I will try to monitor the questions, and then we will try to answer them after the presentation. For those who don't know me, I'm Manu de Witte. I'm IBM Account Manager at Tech Data, and in the name of Tech Data and IBM, I welcome you to this call. Now, while IBM has 5 fundamental offerings, like there is transformation services, hybrid cloud software, hybrid cloud platform, systems infrastructure, and public cloud, we will, as already said, handle today the IBM hybrid cloud software strategy. Within this call, we have the pleasure to welcome from IBM Marty van der Korput, who is technical leader, IBM Cloud and Cognitive Software Benelux. And with this, I give the word to Marty. Marty, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Manu. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into this session. Like Manu already said, the focus is on hybrid cloud and AI strategy from IBM and the unique things we offer in that strategy. We will touch upon some things like IBM Public Cloud as well, but the main goal is to walk you through the IBM Cloud, Hybrid Cloud and AI strategy. Let me make this screen a little bit smaller here. So to start off, yeah, we strongly believe that all customers and all businesses want to create additional value by either finding out new business models or by transforming their existing models they already have, and to do that, of course, to unlock new opportunities, to provide better services for their customers, to automate things, or to be able to automate things, and to gain efficiency, and of course doing all that with a reduced business risk. And that, in our eyes, fuels the innovation. Now, if we look at what our CEO Arvind Krishna also says, is the hybrid cloud platform that IBM has really is the basis of such a journey. And so it is all about unlocking all the systems you already have, all the data you already have, and combining that, of course, with new to-be-built systems, cloud-native applications, and all bringing that together. So to do that, it is really important to be able to have an open architecture in which you can include the systems you already have, and of course, open means that that you can communicate with multiple applications, multiple platforms, but also use the data you already gathered across all your systems. And that, of course, needs to run either in your own data center, in the public cloud, the IBM public cloud preferably, of course, but also another public cloud, maybe even on the edge, so close to the sensors or the cameras that you have in your systems. Now, what does that mean? The open hybrid cloud and AI platform. So it allows you to create new functionality once. So you develop something once, and you can run it, in fact, everywhere. So everywhere where it makes sense. So that can be in the cloud, that can be on the edge. And an example, for instance, is if you have security cameras where you want to analyze footage of that security cameras, it is probably better to do that analysis close to the camera and not really in a public cloud, which is located far away from that camera, especially if you want, for instance, to generate alerts out of that footage. And then again, also if you have regulatory compliance, so you have specific applications where you need to create or keep the data on your own premises or in your own country, you can also communicate with, of course, applications running in private data centers, whether it's your own or a third-party data center. And then also very important, a lot of the applications that are currently in place have mission-critical transactional systems and, for instance, mainframe, and you can also leverage those applications into the hybrid cloud and AI platform. That's really important as well. Now, if you look at today's challenges, and especially with COVID and Corona, we see that 79% of all companies see that their digitalization journey currently is still pretty immature. And almost everyone, so 96%, all say that the pandemic will speed their digital reinvention. So that means that is really a focus area of a lot of business leaders today. So if we look at how to become a smarter business, we see that there are three imperatives very important here. So you need to be intelligent on how you operate. So that means getting the most out of the data you already have, being resilient in responding to change. So I think that's what we've seen with COVID is that there was a lot of change required quickly, and we've seen businesses really struggling with that. And of course, flexibility in optimizing the productivity, meaning automating as much as possible, is also definitely an important point here. So innovation at scale to fuel the digital reinvention. Now, there are a number of inhibitors. So what is preventing companies from being successful here? And we know that it was the Everest Group that I believe it was 73%, so roughly 7 out of 10 companies fail in their digital transformation projects. And it has a lot to do with the constant change of customer expectations, and we see that all the time. Customers see something with a competitor, expect the same service from you. There are, of course, a lot of siloed business operations, which are difficult to integrate. We see a stagnation in productivity. It has to do a lot with a huge data overload. So there is a lot of data available, but that data is currently not used enough. There is digital immaturity. I already mentioned that before. Rigid infrastructures, which are difficult to integrate. And of course, risk and security fears. There is typically a technology skills shortage within a lot of companies, which all lead to limited strategic optionality. And so almost all companies claim that they desire a greater operational agility and intelligence, and 75% claim that this has to do with modernization of the IT and the data architecture, that is the biggest inhibitor. So they don't know how to do this. Now, if we look at what are, according to our clients, the 3 core imperatives, so that is resiliently respond to change. So they want to be able to quickly adapt to changes that are required. And whether that is a financial crisis or whether there is a pandemic, we need to be able to resiliently respond to change. And to be able to do that, we want IT to become decentralized, open, and secure, so that you can really combine the things that you already have in place. Flexibly optimize productivity. So automation is the key word there. So especially low value tasks, to be able to automate those, that is really important. And then intelligently operate and engage. And there we say the winners will scale the value of data with AI. So once you be able to tap into your data, you can use AI to, of course, do smart things with the data you already have. What we see is that 94% already use multiple clouds of our customers. and data platforms. What we also see is that 120 billion hours a year are spent typically, what I already said, at lower value work. And that's of course something that we want to reclaim, because yeah, it is better to use those hours doing smart things instead of the low value work. And 90% of enterprise data today doesn't get analyzed at all because it's inaccessible, it's untrusted. There are different reasons for that. So that is really important. Data fuels the digital automation, and of course, yeah, you can only use AI once you have that data under control. So this is the hybrid cloud yeah, architecture in a high level. It's all based on the hybrid cloud platform Red Hat OpenShift. And let's start with modernize with ease. So you want to be easy, want to easily modernize your current applications or your application landscape. You want to predict outcomes, so tap into the data, and especially the 90% unused data. Automate at scale, and of course, during that whole process, from beginning to end, secure everything and make sure that all your assets are secured. So yeah, like I said, modernize, accelerate, integrate, and manage agile IT. So meaning creating new native cloud applications, but also tapping into existing applications you already have. On the prediction side, collect, organize, and analyze data. On the automation side, of course, learn what you can automate, detect things before they happen. So for instance, an opportunity for a specific customer, detect that and automatically act on that by, for instance, sending this customer an offer, or detect an issue with one of the systems before the issue actually occurs and already be able to act before that issue occurs. So those are the four things. Then if we look at the AI for business, there is a clear difference between AI for business and AI for consumers, like Alexa and Siri and so on. And the biggest differences are in three layers. So first of all is the language part, where it is really important that the system can understand the business language and the business acumen. And we use natural language processor technology for that, and also technology from our debater project from IBM Research. The system should be able to analyze sentiments, summarizations and briefs, and of course should be able to discover, extract and correlate insights and put things in context. Then from an automation perspective, we within IBM have all kinds of pre-trained models, and so transfer learnings from those pre-trained models, automate the AI lifecycle, prep, build, run, and manage these AI life cycles, and also create leaps in productivity by automating things like AI ops, but also, for instance, robotics tools to take over a lot of these manual, low-value tasks. And then very important is the trust layer. It is really important that once we start automating things and doing things based on artificial intelligence, that there is a certain amount of trust, of course. You should be able to explain if someone applies for a loan, for instance, and the bank doesn't grant that loan because a system didn't grant it in an automatic process, then of course you should be able to explain to that customer why this decision was taken in such a way. And also things like detecting and managing bias, drift, and risk is really important here, because if you start doing things automatically, you want to make sure that everything is done trustworthy, of course. And then really important is that this can run everywhere. Again, this should be able to run on the edge, in your own data center, in a public cloud, wherever you want, or wherever it makes sense to use these. Then, so what is this? How is this built up? So, like I said, at the bottom we have the hybrid cloud platform based on Red Hat OpenShift. Red Hat OpenShift, which runs on Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And that provides actually an agile cloud native services based on container technology of Kubernetes. Then what IBM did is, and I don't like to use the term middleware, but I maybe should compare it with middleware type of capabilities packed in cloud packs. So related capabilities packed together in container ready software. So that's what the cloud packs are all about. So that's unified, it's simplified, and it's all similar and consistent, so to be used. So a cloud pack for data, for instance, is similar in consistency to cloud pack for integration from a management perspective. And then we have at the top we have products and solutions built on that layer, and that can be solutions based on cloud packs or cloud standalone solutions, and we have multiple examples of that. Now, the advantage of running this on the Red Hat OpenShift platform is that we can deploy it everywhere. We can deploy it again on the edge, own data center, IBM Cloud, Azure, Google, AWS. You can run this everywhere. So it's all built to simplify, to be consumed everywhere, and to allow modernization with ease. And what is unique about IBM is that we can still offer this in different flavors. So we can still run our hybrid cloud software on traditionally on-premise. We can run that standalone on any cloud you want, again with the OpenShift layer under it. And we also offer it in the integrated cloud packs on any cloud, which the further you go to the right, the bigger your advantage becomes. Now, the IBM Cloud Packs, I already said that this is all about standardization. And so they deliver also a lot of non-functional requirements. So it is production grade, so it is all bundled, it is multi-cloud available, there is resiliency built in, scalability, self-healing. From a security point of view, there is vulnerability management. There is, on the quality assurance, there is comprehensive testing for these cloud packs and services on top of the cloud packs. And there is lifecycle management with patches and upgradability. So there is a lot of consistency and standards that is available for all these cloud packs. So there is a generic layer of consistency and standards underneath the cloud packs. And it's also important to mention that if third parties, business partners, develop solutions as add-ons for the cloud packs or add-ons for this architecture, that there are more than 200 code standards enforced. So these solutions have to be developed in a certain way so that they comply with the cloud pack way of working. So that's really important to mention, because that also guarantees the stability and the quality of the solutions. Now, I already mentioned the AI applications. So on top of the cloud packs, we have multiple AI applications where we have all kinds of AI ready to use, pre-built, pre-tested models in different areas of smarter business problems. So talent lifecycle, IT operations, risk and compliance, and you see others mentioned there as well. So where we again, intelligently operate and engage, resiliently responds to change, and flexibly optimize productivity. And in the next slide, you see a couple of examples of applications that run on top of this architecture. And some you might already know, like Maximo or Tririca, where we address really line of business problems with our industry capabilities on top of this hybrid cloud platform. Very important as well is that with this architecture, we support an open ecosystem, which enables endless extension and customization. So you see actually two angles here. So at the bottom, you see the Red Hat Marketplace, which infuses all kinds of third-party solutions from the ecosystem into the foundation of the hybrid cloud architecture. And on the top part, you see through the IBM partner world that there is a huge number of solutions and extensions already available on top of the IBM Cloud Packs and on top of this this architecture. So you see that we infuse ecosystem solutions from two angles into the hybrid cloud architecture. Now, if we look at the architecture itself, so I already mentioned it there. So the core of the architecture is the Red Hat hybrid cloud platform based on Red Hat OpenShift and Enterprise Linux, which runs in fact almost everywhere. So we can of course run that in our own IBM public cloud, but also in the public clouds of third parties like Amazon, Microsoft, and for instance Google. It can of course run on our IBM systems, specific systems like for instance IBM Power or IBM Z, the mainframe. It can run in a data center, an enterprise infrastructure of a customer or a third-party data center, and it can also run on edge components. So so that's what provides the capability of running solutions everywhere. Then on top of that Red Hat Hybrid Cloud Platform, we have the IBM software. We have that typically in IBM Cloud Packs, and there are different flavors already. So Cloud Pack for automation, business automation, network automation, Cloud Pack for data, Cloud Pack for integration, Cloud Pack for security. So we have multiple, and also the industry capabilities run on top of this platform. And of course, we have software and software as a service partners who develop solutions on top of this platform as well, and that's what I've showed in the slide before. And then one layer up, we have the IBM services. So we can provide digital transformation services, application modernization. We can help with building intelligent workflows, and of course there we have system integrators and partners as well, who can also provide services on top of the hybrid cloud software stack. Now, why is OpenShift so important? So we get this question quite often, why not just Kubernetes? Because Kubernetes is, of course, the basis of OpenShift. And Kubernetes is, of course, an open source solution. Now, if you look at this schema here, then you see that Kubernetes is mainly focused on providing a platform for running and managing containers. If you look at what OpenShift does, is a whole lot more. And so OpenShift provides a complete tooling stack around development, for instance, also platform with CI/CD capabilities. We have different solutions with regards to the platform tooling, for instance, around load balancing and routing. Of course, there you see also the plugin of the Red Hat Marketplace, we are allowing tools to be integrated. And of course, on the management side, there is this complete operator framework with Web Console for the administration of the whole system. So as you can see here, OpenShift adds a lot of capabilities to Kubernetes, which makes it actually an enterprise-grade solution, where it provides much more than Kubernetes alone. Now, again, if you look at why this is so important for us, you can see that the Red Hat Marketplace, the Red Hat OpenShift, but also the IBM Cloud Packs, in this way can be implemented on top of a whole lot of systems. And so it can be off-premise in all the public clouds, but it can also be on-premise implemented on things you already have. Bare metal systems, it can run on VMware, it can run on your IBM Power if you have that, or on IBM Z on the mainframe or OpenStack. And so there we differentiate really from the hybrid cloud solutions of the hyperscalers like Anthos, Azure, and Outpost, who are mainly targeted to communicate with their own public cloud stack, and there is not a lot of integration across these different pillars. And like I said in the beginning, there is a lot of most of the customers already have multiple cloud vendors already. So that integration is really inevitable in the future, and that you need to integrate across these platforms. This was a picture I also wanted to show you because this is really trade-offs you have to make. So you have on one hand cost of portability, and you have the business value from high to low. And what you can see here is that IBM hybrid cloud strategy focuses really on where the business value is high. And of course, we want to make that cost of portability as low as possible, which gives you a lot of options. If you decide today that you want to run an application in your own data center, and tomorrow you want to run that same application in Azure, for instance, you should be easily able to do that. And so that is really important, and that is really where we aim. We see also the accepted login, that there also the hybrid cloud strategy is applicable, and there you have to think about things like mainframe or specific systems that you have running in your own data center, where you really where it's really key that it stays that way, and so that you say, okay, this is really where I accept the login of using a certain solution because it really makes sense there. So these are the trade-offs that you have to make. Now, this is a slide, I will quickly go over that, because typically if you create this slide today, it is already outdated tomorrow, because this really shows some of the offerings that we have in this hybrid cloud software stack. For instance, I already see that the cloud pack for network automation is not there, which should obviously be in the automate box. But I think that I will continue with picking one example out, and that is Cloud Pack for Data. So Cloud Pack for Data, there we have the complete analytics pipeline, which supports what we call the AI ladder. The AI ladder, which of course helps customers to get the most out of their data. Now, what we always say is there is no AI without IA, so there is no artificial intelligence without information architecture. So you see that these components are key, of course, also in this product set. So it starts with collecting and connecting to different data sources, making that data simple and accessible. So eliminating all the data silos that you have across multiple parts of your architecture, multiple systems, connect all that data together and make it ready for analytics. The next step is organizing that data and refining it and cataloging it and do governance around that data. And with that, you get, of course, the trust aspect of your data there as well. And then the third part is analyzing that data, so building and scaling AI, using even AI to design AI. So let the models optimize themselves, so to say. Explore and visualize data, analyze data, and of course get to analyze and build the models. And then the most important part is infuse this artificial intelligence in your business and in your other applications. So deploy the models, and of course, what I already said before, build the trust by explainability and make sure that you can explain decisions that were taken by AI. Now, as you can see, this again, the red bar below, this runs again on cloud, on premise, wherever you want this to be run. If we look at the analyst reviews, then you see that IBM is always in the top right corner. And so for multi-cloud container development platforms, you see the Forrester report where we are in the top, and also for the data science and machine learning and the cloud AI developer services, Magic Quadrants of 2021, we are in the top. So we are also seen by the analysts as the top players in this area. Now, I already mentioned the IBM Cloud a couple of times, so this is a little sidestep to the cloud. So I know that it's maybe not always known that IBM has its own public cloud next to Google, Microsoft, and AWS, but I think it's important to mention that we claim to have the most open and secure public cloud for businesses, and specifically targeted to businesses. So we are open, and we support, of course, innovation. You see that we already have 21,000 plus clusters in production, Kubernetes clusters. And of course, we are, as always, a big contributor to open source, and also in the context of cloud native application building. From a security point of view, I think we are really differentiating ourselves. So we have the highest compliancy for data and encryption, and I will mention that a little bit later as well. And so we have edge to cloud threat management with security integration from IBM as well. So, and then of course, we are enterprise grade. We are the #1 VMware public cloud with more than 2,000 customers, of which also a number of important customers in Benelux. We also support the different platforms in the cloud. So if we have customers that require specific IBM Power capabilities, or for instance mainframe capabilities, we offer those in the cloud as well. Now, on the right side, you see some other important differentiators that we offer with our public cloud. So I wanted to specifically manage that as well. So so what we can do from in our cloud is what we call confidential computing, and there we are pretty unique. So this is something, of course, you can already do locally with things like mainframe, but we can also offer that in the IBM public cloud based on IBM Linux 1. And it even allows protection of data in use. So the data that is at that point in time in memory, that is inaccessible, for instance, by administrators. You can also use your own secure shell. So it is impossible for the cloud administrators of IBM to access any of that data. Which also make a small bridge to IBM Cloud for Financial Services. So you see now that IBM is also building out specific industry clouds, and IBM Cloud for Financial Services is one of those. And there, of course, we use this specific technology, specifically the security technology, to be compliant with the strong regulations and requirements of the financial services markets. And we, of course, deliver in that architecture of IBM Cloud for Financial Services a basis of services that are really applicable for the different financial services. And we also now have our IBM Cloud for Telecommunications industry, where we bundle a number of other services and also ecosystem partner solutions together to build a very specific cloud solution for specifically the telco industry. Then IBM Cloud Satellite, that's also a really important, pretty new offering, which is important to mention. Sorry, it is. It allows you to manage the IBM Cloud and to actually create the possibility for IBM Cloud capabilities outside of the IBM Cloud. So you can have IBM Cloud capabilities in your own data center, or in, for instance, one of the hyperscaler clouds, and work really together in one single interface. And that is, it of course delivers a lot of consistency and app performance. It reduces management costs because you have a single interface where you manage everything. It provides end-to-end security, so it's really an interesting offering. And as you can see, you can have the IBM Cloud satellite offering, and then you can have different satellite locations, either again in the edge, on premise, or in the public cloud. and you can run your applications and move your applications around through these different locations. So you can run your apps where it makes sense. Like I said, you can maybe develop something on premise and then decide that it runs better in the edge because of latency, or because of low cost, you want to move it from on-premise to one of the hyperscaler clouds. You can easily move your applications and your workload around. And so you have really a choice, and you can use optimum speed here to get the best out of your developments. This is an example that I wanted to share, where you see that we combine IBM Cloud and third-party cloud sets. So this is an example where we have Azure, Microsoft Azure, where the customer decided to develop an application based on the IBM Azure technology. But to run that application, they wanted to use the event stream services which were running on IBM technology, and also to create a chatbot. They wanted to use the Watson Assistant because that provided better capabilities. So what we see here is that these applications are typically IBM public cloud capabilities are running inside Azure. And that is made possible through the IBM Cloud Satellite link. So that's an example I wanted to use to illustrate where what IBM Cloud Satellite can be used for. Then, from a security perspective, we have a whole bunch of security offerings. So the typical IBM security, where we have cloud backup security, but also threat and risk management. We have, of course, our SIEM solutions with QRadar, where we analyze security issues and vulnerabilities and critical threats. We have, of course, our identity and access management solutions, where we do authentication, authorization, and single sign-on with IBM Verify. And with Guardian, we have data security solutions around discovery, classification, encryption, masking of critical data. And then what I already mentioned is that with secure and / confidential computing, we have offerings also spanning the different solutions. And so on-premise, private clouds, public clouds, and even third-party public clouds, where we can offer these security solutions. Now, with everything I've told you, that you see that we that there is that there are multiple possibilities to deploy your workload, and that of course you always have to look at what is the best fit for what I want to do. And so, do I need elasticity? Do I need security and compliance? And where can I find that typically? And then you see that there are a lot of possibilities. Most of them, of course, running again on the OpenShift layer and using the IBM Cloud Paks. There are, of course, several customer references. So I think Vodafone is an important one. They developed an open universal hybrid cloud for their network and IT workloads. At CaixaBank, we saw that they really moved a lot of applications to the hybrid cloud. And Coca-Cola, they also created mission-critical Kubernetes applications on OpenShift. And they also moved their SAP workloads to specifically on Power. And that is, of course, then deployed on IBM Public Cloud, because we also can reuse or offer Power capability on our public cloud. So to summarize, I've told you a lot of things, of course. So I think it's really important to maybe get back to what I started in the beginning with. 90% of potentially valuable data is unused. So unlocking that with AI is really important. Automating tasks and freeing up 120 billion hours per year that is spent on low value work is also really key in what I've told you. And to be able to do that, IT has to be decentralized and open and secure to be able to link all these things together, of course. And that allows then modern applications, predictive, so using the data, collecting it, analyzing it, putting artificial intelligence to work with it. Of course, automate tasks by improving productivity with workflows, all kinds of workloads, robotics, use robotics to automate manual tasks, and of course everything has to be secure. And IBM is really committed to build that upon an open modular services architecture on any cloud. You've seen that we can run this on any cloud, but also your own private cloud or your own private data center. It is designed really to protect and extend existing investments. So we are not asking our customers to throw things away. We can tap into what they already have and integrate what they have in this hybrid cloud architecture. And of course, it's all supported by an ecosystem of partners and developers. And they already started with creating add-on solutions on our hybrid cloud architecture. That's what I wanted to share with you today. If there are any questions, please don't hesitate. I don't know if you found questions in the chat already, Manu or Dirk.
At this point of time, Martin, no questions in the chat. I just want to mention also to the attendees that this session is recorded. So we will send you anyhow a link to the recording. You can, of course, communicate and share it with your colleagues. If nevertheless you would have questions, please don't hesitate. You have our coordinates. But here I want to thank you, Marty, for the high level, although to me, and I hope to the attendees, very clear positioning and the unique approach of IBM when it comes to software. The hybrid multi-cloud open approach infused with AI. So I think a very clear presentation. Nevertheless, want to mention, okay, I can imagine that business partners aren't able to be active within each of the 4 components you mentioned of automate, predict, secure, and modernize. But nevertheless, then you have tech data as being an aggregator, maintaining the ecosystem. We make sure that we can collaborate, or that different business partners can collaborate within different aspects or components of that strategy. So if you would like to see for a partnership, don't hesitate neither to contact us. With this, Marty, I don't see questions in the chat, so I would thank you once again and talk to you soon. Thank you.
You're welcome.